Let's dive into Genesis 17:19, where God makes a promise that sounds utterly impossible. Abraham's nearly 100, Sarah's 90, and God says, "Sarah will bear you a son, Isaac, and I'll establish my covenant with him for an everlasting nation." Then, in Genesis 21:1-3, it happens. Sarah gives birth to Isaac. Earlier, in Genesis 15:5, God showed Abraham a sky blazing with stars and said, "Count them if you can. That's how many your descendants will be." Abraham's childless, with no heir in sight, yet he believes God. By Genesis 22:17, it all comes true. Isaac's birth leads to a lineage that grows into nations. This timeless truth stands firm. God's promises never fail, no matter how unlikely they seem. Unlike people who break even simple promises, God always delivers, and trusting Him brings hope that endures. Human promises often crumble. A friend skips a coffee date, a retailer botches a delivery, a family member forgets a commitment. These letdowns sting, making trust hard when bigger hopes like health or stability seem out of reach. But God's promises hold firm. Abraham faced impossible odds. Sarah's barrenness, their old age. Yet God delivered Isaac and countless descendants. In our instant fix world, trusting God's unlikely promises brings peace. Let's explore how this truth shapes real-life challenges, contrasting human failures with God's faithfulness. Say you're struggling financially, praying for God's promise of provision in Philippians 4:19, where He vows to meet your needs. Bills pile up, making it feel hopeless. The unwise choice is trusting a lender's slick, easy loan promise, which buries you in debt with no relief. You chase quick and risky fixes. The wise choice is trusting God's provision. You pray, tighten your budget, and seek a side hustle, believing God will provide. When caring for an elderly parent, you're holding to God's promise of strength in Isaiah 40:31, where those who hope in Him renew their energy. Their constant demands feel overwhelming, especially when they promise to appreciate your help but snap instead. The unwise choice is trusting their fleeting gratitude, then resenting them when it fades, maybe cutting visits short. That strains your family. The wise choice is trusting God's strength. You pray, serve patiently, and set boundaries with love. Your care might soften their heart, showing others God's faithfulness over human moods. While parenting an adult child, you're seeking God's promise in Jeremiah 29:11 for a hopeful future, but their rocky career or life choices worry you. They promise to get it together, but progress stalls. The unwise choice is banking on their vague assurances, maybe enabling bad habits by bailing them out. That delays their growth. The wise choice is trusting God's plan. You pray, offer guidance, and let them face consequences, believing God's path for them. When commuting on a train, you're praying for God's peace in John 16:33, where Jesus promises peace amid trouble. Delays and crowded cars make calm seem impossible, especially when a conductor promises a quick fix, but the train stalls again. The unwise choice is trusting their empty assurances, maybe complaining loudly, spreading stress. The wise choice is trusting God's peace. You pray, listen to a hymn, and stay calm, showing fellow commuters God's steadiness over human unreliability. When a business supplier breaks a contract, promising timely delivery but leaving you high and dry, you're clinging to God's promise of restoration in Joel 2:25, where He restores what's lost. The setback threatens your plans. The unwise choice is trusting their flimsy, "we'll make it right," then lashing out or bad-mouthing them, risking your reputation. The wise choice is trusting God's restoration. You pray, renegotiate calmly, and seek new partners, believing God will provide. Your integrity might rebuild trust, showing others God's provision over human failures. Our culture loves instant results, same-day shipping, trending gadgets, quick wealth. But Abraham's story proves God's promises, no matter how unlikely, always hold. He was 100 when Isaac arrived, and his descendants grew as countless as the stars, just as God said. People break even simple promises, but God never does. With Matthew 24:12, warning of love growing cold, trusting God's promises keeps us ready for His return. Every time you choose God's word over human promises, you're building hope that shows your family or neighbors a God who always delivers. Waiting's tough. We've had moments staring at the empty sky, wondering if God's promise would come. But Abraham's faith, believing in Isaac, trusting for descendants, shows God's word is sure. So what unlikely promise are you holding on to? A financial breakthrough, a family healing, a dream? Share it in the comments. We'd love to pray with you. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more timeless truths every Tuesday.